Hi everybody, Grace here, and welcome to this Grace Note. This week I want to speak to those of you that are feeling hopeless or feeling less than hopeful. And in particular, I'm speaking to any of you that just seem to be off track, as it were, seem to have ideas but don't really follow through, or don't see things through to the end, or beat yourself up because at the last minute you end up stressed and urgent and you feel hopeless. And so what I really want to share in this Grace Note is that how you feel doesn't really matter. That's the good news. That's hopeful. I used to give a lot of attention to how I felt, and I would only execute things or get things going if I was feeling excited or inspired or happy. And whilst it's lovely to feel that way, and whilst it's very effortless when you feel that way to do things, it is not a prerequisite to success. And so let me share a bit more about that. It seems to me that we give a lot of attention to our feeling in any given moment. How we feel has become so important. And often how we feel is just an indicator for where our state of mind currently is. So I can be feeling really like not doing anything. I can be feeling tired. I can be feeling uninspired. And I could make up the reality that that must mean today is not the day to work on my business. I could make up the reality that this feeling must mean my ideas going nowhere. But as I've begun to understand the principles behind life, what I'm discovering more and more is that how I feel is merely an indication of my state of mind, where my thinking is that day. And I think there's so much hope in that. I think there's so much freedom in that. Because rather than making up a whole lot of stories about how your idea or your plan or your program or your next step is never going to happen or is not going anywhere, because look, you feel it, you don't feel inspired, you don't feel hopeful, you don't feel excited. Instead, what it means, where the hope is that you're just in a low mood. You know, your state of mind has dropped a little bit for whatever reason. And it has absolutely no meaning around whether or not you're going to succeed. Now, you can very innocently make it be about that. You can very innocently fall into the trap that we all fall into every so often when we don't understand that thought is at work. And that trap is, oh, how I feel has meaning. Now, I'm not saying that feeling is never useful. It is. But the feeling I have found to be most useful comes from a different place. Like, I believe you can trust a good feeling. I believe you can trust a feeling that is moving you in a direction. The feelings I no longer can trust are apathy and overexcitement. Neither of these two states indicate anything for me much anymore. And I used to really think they meant a lot. I used to think this overexcitement held information about the right path. And I used to think that this apathy held information about what my business or what my life meant. Today is different. And Today, I merely look for a hopeful feeling. That's all we're looking for. The good feeling and the hopeful feelings. Because that's our natural state. That's who we are when we're not lost in thought, when we're not lost in self-conscious thinking, when we're not comparing ourselves to others, when we're not making whatever it is we're trying to achieve about us and how it looks to the world. And so for those of you really feeling hopeless today, really feeling like your feeling has meaning about your service or your program or your next step, your direction, know that this too shall pass. And also know that this feeling does not hold information about your future or your business or your success. You're wired for success. And the moment these feelings of hopelessness and apathy and discouragement pass, then your natural state comes back. Now, it can be helpful to engage something to move it along more quickly. You know, it can be helpful to engage with something. Maybe for you that's, you know, stepping back a bit and sort of relaxing, or I don't know, maybe for some of you it's praying, but not praying from a state of worry, right? Maybe for some of you it's engaging with coaching. I personally find that very helpful. You know, it's something that it just moves us on from thought much more quickly than us being on our own, lost in it all. So I'm not saying don't do anything, stay where you are, but if it comes to you to engage with something, to come back to center more quickly, to come back home to the feelings of truth and hope and encouragement, then do what comes to you. But what I'm saying here is that the feeling shall pass. The hopelessness doesn't really contain information except to say your state of mind has fallen. Your thinking's gone south. And if it's helpful, don't try and be a superwoman and do 100 million things from that place. Recognize when you're in that feeling and wait for it to pass. Hopelessness is nothing more than just a reminder that you've moved away from home a little bit. And so if you come back to center, you will know the direction to go in. You will know the most graceful way for you. In the meantime, don't let it get you down too far. Don't give it so much meaning and keep the cycle of hopelessness going. And know that it holds no information, except perhaps to indicate a little more rest and relaxation and exploration would be helpful from your side. So I hope this has been helpful, and I'd love to know what you hear. Please feel free to comment. Please feel free to write to me if you would love to hear about a different or a certain subject that's on your mind. Grace@citygirlconfidence.com. And I'll be back with you soon with another Grace Note. Ciao for now. Bye.